Good evening, and welcome to today's discussion of 50 Shades Freed, the third and final installment in the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. In this, final installment, Anna and Christian, finally get married, and of course, Anna also has to deal with, the return of her former boss, Jack Hyde, who was fired in the events of the previous movie, 50 Shades Darker, for assaulting her. And of course, Anna finds out the news that, she's, pregnant, which, neither her and Christian planned initially, since I guess they wanted to try out being a married couple first before becoming parents, which gets Christian nervous. I guess like a lot of, first time parents would get, since, you know, he was afraid that he wouldn't be a good father. And of course, it also deals with other, new characters such as, Gia Mateo, played by Ariel Cabrell, and then of course, Anna's, you know, given a bodyguard by the name of Luke Sawyer as a way of protecting her from Jack Hyde, and of course, what I would say, what makes the 50 Shades Darker, I guess, a rather interesting conclusion that Anna and Christian finally get, you know, the happy ending despite, their lifestyle and the S&D, the submissive and domination lifestyle. I mean, would I say the 50 Shades trilogy is, masterful? Not really, but I would say it's more like pure escapist, fun, good for those that, um, you know, I guess want to see a good Valentine's Day movie or, something to that extent. But, like the Twilight movies, which, weren't known the greatest for their acting. But, of course, what I did like about the 50 Shades, movie was, of course, the awesome music, particularly the Read It Aura song For You, which she collaborates with Liam Payne, which I thought was a pretty cool hit single. So, I know probably for those that read the 50 Shades, trilogy book, I mean, which was kind of like the most bizarre, hilarious thing I ever read. I mean, in terms of the casting itself, I would say Dakota Johnson, the daughter of, Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson, does a, rather good job playing Anna Steele. I mean, in terms of the Christian Grey character, I mean, I personally would have probably casted Hunter Parrish in the role, since I mean, he looks, a little bit more like the Christian Grey character, and particularly, when the last season of Weeds had his Silas character, using a whip on one of his, girlfriend's Kiki, which I thought, would have been hilarious to see if had he been casted in the Christian Grey role. But Jamie Dorian does a, decent job playing the part, even though I think out of the two, he's the weaker link out of the bunch. But that's just my personal opinion about 50 Shades Freed. I mean, one of the few things I probably would have fixed was probably, the longer running time, since I felt it was the shortest out of three movies and under 2 hours. Didn't really do the movie justice enough. And if I, wanted to get a little bit more, backstory on, Christian's, life before he was adopted, and the same thing with Jack Hyde, and, I guess the animosity he had towards Christian, and of course, Christian's, previous mistress, Elena Lincoln, who sadly is not in this movie, but she is mentioned. So it would have been nice to see her one last time. But overall, I would say, 50 Shades, to me, dark. I mean, it's just, pure escapist fun, and that's pretty much all I think of it. But entertaining nonetheless, even though I know people say it sucks because of the crappy dialogue and things like that. But that's just my particular take on it. So I'll just say thanks for watching, and hopefully those out there have a happy Valentine's Day with their loved ones and have lots of fun. Thank you.